proposal plan. And I think you want to skip the issue of zoning. I think what really comes out is the city wisely has designated steep hillsides as R1 for the very reasons we've been talking about. And I even read in there that the village itself owns property on steep slopes. And it says that development costs for both are too high for affordable housing, and they're too steep. And it said that these parcels could be used to generate revenue for affordable housing projects or traded for more level land that could be developed as affordable housing. I think Kathy Barnett has something to say.
Well, nothing new in terms of, we just, of course, again, we have been in the area for over 40 years, and we also wrote a letter opposing the change, and for all the reasons above that everyone has mentioned. You know, our biggest concern would be safety issues and controlling that. Again, like Kurt said, and I think Mr. McKay, do due diligence if you're involved in making these decisions, and go up and look at that area, because we see cars, we see children and adults walking up that hill in the middle of the winter. And when people can't get up that hill, there are cars at the bottom of the hill where it intersects with Paradise Canyon, and all the way up to Cree Manor and the Horseshoe Curve. So adding additional pedestrians and motorists to that, I think would be, you know, just extremely dangerous. And in my opinion, it shouldn't even be considered. We do need affordable housing, but that is not the area to do it in. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Next person in line.
That would be Larry Layer.
Larry, are you online? Larry, if you're here, unmute your mic, please.
Okay. I didn't hear. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Just a couple of points.
Couple of points.
I'm going to go over what.
I'm going to go over what instead for.
We bought our home up here on.
We bought our home up here on Coronado because we love the mountain feel of Ruidoso and the beautiful views. This project will destroy mountain habitat for various animals and change the beautiful views forever. I agree with Eric Vaughn as far as the changing in property values, which will also have an effect on the tax rates, or tax income, I would say, for the village of Ruidoso. I have no problem with remodeling the existing apartments, so I'm not against that. It's just the adding of the additional apartments and parking lot. Finally, I have a direct view of Starlight from my house. And I can tell you that I see people as they're making that turn, especially if they are a truck hauling a trailer, which I see numerous ones doing that, they've got their foot in it. And as they come around that turn, they are going as fast as they can so they can make it up the hill. So it is a very, very dangerous spot. And at night when I'm coming up there, you don't know if you're going to find an elk sitting out on the road, or a deer, or somebody that has to just be out for a stroll. No curbs, no sidewalks, no lighting. A very difficult place to walk, and very dangerous for pedestrians and vehicles. So that's all I have to say.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. Who's next?
The next user, it just says iPad with a white ceiling and a brown wall.
So is anybody on that screen? It says iPad. There you go.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Unmute your mic, please. Unmute, please. There we go. Your comments, please.
Yes, ma'am.
We can't hear her.
She's unmuted.
Yeah. Okay,
No, we cannot hear you.
we cannot hear anything come out. Okay, we're going to continue this comment period. If we get a chance to, we'll come back to you. Who's next, please, Stephanie?
Karen McKay.
Karen McKay, are you here?
Hi, yes, I am.
Very, very good. Thank you.
So I would just like to touch on my husband Les McKay's comments. He forgot to mention or didn't mention that we also own a vacant lot right next to 129. So we actually own both properties, the 129 Starlight and a vacant lot, which we would like to plan on building on eventually when we retire and moving to Ruidoso. But if we have low-income housing, like Eric Vaughn said, that significantly brings down the home values in that area, I would think that that would be a huge concern for all the residents in that neighborhood. Again, with the building into the hillside, that's going to impede on our front porch area. We're going to be looking right across and having a parking lot and another set of buildings. As Don Cox mentioned, there's no daycares, there's no transportation, there's no grocery stores for people for the affordable housing. I would also like to see it renovated. I would suggest maybe having someone come in and turn those apartments into maybe condos or a retirement village for the elderly, fix them up. But as it stands right now, Cree Manor doesn't currently seem to be at capacity anyway. So I don't know why they would need to build on and add more apartments. Why don't you start with what they have and get those renovated and maybe see if they're at capacity. But I don't see bringing low-income residents or affordable housing into that established neighborhood that's already got $500,000 homes in there. It just doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next in line,
Tim Woomer.
Tim Woomer, are you online?
Yes, thank you, members of the commission. I appreciate your time today. My wife and I own a property at 139 Starlight Road. It's actually two actual structures up from the McKays, but we're not within 200 feet. And I agree and would resonate that the 200-foot notification limit is pretty arbitrary and capricious, since we're talking about a well-established neighborhood with large lots and large homes. So with that said, I do want to lodge my objections to the petition for this rezoning. I don't believe that this is an appropriate place, and I think that's been pretty well beat around the bend of all the different reasons why this rezoning should not happen. I think that that I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that there were 5 within 200-foot comments, 2 against, and as mentioned by the commission, 3 for this rezoning, and it just so happens they are tenants at the Cree Manor Apartments. If I were a tenant at the Cree Manor Apartments, I also would be in favor of this, as I'm in favor of totally renovating that property, taking down the unsightly, unusable billboards and poles they've got all over the place. And I think that the commission should take note of the amount of citizens within the village that are opposed to this rezoning effort. As you can see, 3 for, 2 against is not exactly an accurate count. And I would remind the board that the purpose of rezoning and building and planning ordinances is for the good benefit of the entire community. Rezoning petitions should not be considered for explicit reasons that do not benefit the entire community, do not solely benefit property developers, enjoy the support of adjacent property owners, and do not negatively impact established neighborhoods, property values, or the quality of life of the people that live in those neighborhoods. And that's the end of my comments.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. Who's next?
AK Miles.
AK Miles, are you on line? Miles, you're next. Mister.
There's a Dell user.
Dell user, you would be next since we didn't get a hold of AK Miles. Go back.
No response.
Friends, the Dell user is just me on a bigger screen because I can't see my tiny laptop. So there'll be no commentary from Dell.
Thank you.
Deborah's iPhone.
Deborah's iPhone.
I believe that would be me. I'm Deborah Smith. My husband Ricky and I live at 143 Coronado, which should be within the 200 feet range because our neighbor at 133, Dr. Hannah, is. I've written a letter and emailed it, and it should be passed out with our concerns with what goes on directly below us. So I won't take up your time with reiterating all the other concerns that we've had. Just appreciate you and your time, and we're thoroughly against the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Veronica Tanti.
Veronica Tanti.
Veronica.
Veronica, sorry. Lost in mask interpretation. Hello? Veronica? Okay, we'll go to the next person.
The only ones left are Brian and Tim, the applicants.
Very good. So we've heard a lot of comments and a lot of discussion. Would the owners and slash developers, applicants wish to respond to some of the comments? Is that during public comment or, okay.
No, you gotta close the public, don't you?
Are we ready to close the public? They could have questions for each other.
That's during the public hearing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has the option to cross the gun.
Mm-hmm. Hello, applicants, are you on board? Do you have anything to comment or kind of cross-examine anybody?
Brian, do you want to say anything?
I'm not sure if I'm muted or unmuted right now.
You're unmuted. We hear you.
Great. I appreciate everybody's time and consideration and thoughtful views of each of the different things that impact this property. You know, obviously, Cream Manor would love to have the ability to improve its condition. It's a property that's been here for, I don't know, 50, 60 years, and services 40 units right now. We've been running about 95% occupancy for the past couple of years, and we could easily probably be at 140% if we accepted more people or were able to take more people that were sort of lower income than the minimum wage that most of our tenants are right now. But some of the comments that people brought up, with respect to the majority of these. Sorry about that. Hold on. Please come back. Sorry, tenant's trying to pay rent. With respect to like street impact, things like that, most of the commenters here live uphill of the Cream Manor property, and we're probably 100 yards at most from Paradise Canyon Road. So, certainly 99.9% of the traffic of any of the Cream Manor residents would be straight down the hill as opposed to up the hill. So I other than that first 100 yards or so coming off of Paradise Canyon Road, the traffic impact I would see as being pretty minimal north of or uphill of the 110 and then the 130 lot. I know that there were comments with respect to the conservation easement, and that runs, I guess, sort of southwest down the backside, the south side of the 130 lot, as well as the 110 Starlight lot. So that right now is the contiguous southern edge of the existing Cream Manor lot where the actual apartment complex is. And my understanding, and I'd let Tim speak to this with respect to Chelsea's plans, but I don't believe that they envision developing anywhere close to that gully, that ravine, or the probably acre or so of hillside to the south of that ravine that would be, I guess, coming up to the Coronado properties. So, maybe a half acre to an acre or so, potentially that 130 lot is, I think, what they would be looking at as potentially being available for some development whatsoever. That's about all that I have to say at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And just to touch on what you're saying about construction and the conservation easement, prior to issuing a building permit, that is something that we require is a plot plan, and so building permits are never issued in easements. So that should ease everyone's mind, hopefully.
So is that all from the applicant?
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. This is Eric Vaughn. So just hearing that, who's going to own this complex? Is it going to be sold to Chelsea? How is that going to work?
That would be what we envision. I'm not sure who the end owner would be, but Chelsea would be involved with the construction portion of it, and there would be a change of ownership.
Again,
Ultimately, it will be owned by Chelsea Investment Corporation and a partner, tax-spread investor partner.
and again, this has no relevance to the actual zone change hearing that we're on to. That's more of the site development issue when we get there. So before I close the public hearing, is there anybody else that wants to say something else or re-examine or reiterate their point?
Chair, if
I'd like to say something.
Identify yourself, please. Oh,
Sue Auburn.
okay. Sorry, Sue.
Yes, and I'll make it quick. I understand, but I really appreciate all the comments that have come opposing this today. Ray and I lived for we lived in Ruidoso longer than 12 years, but 12 years at 132.
Read lips. What'd you say? I couldn't hear you or read your lips.
Would just be debilitating. I can't even imagine. And I think what Ruidoso it will lose if they continue to bring in development that robs us of those views and those sites and those animals and wildlife. They'll lose what brings people there in the first place, and why people like us that are forced to move back to Texas for health reasons and to be with our family that lives there, we lost a lot moving away, and we know it every single day. And there's nowhere in Sugar Land, Texas that it resembles what we left. And I hope y'all, and I know that almost all of you really appreciate what you have. And I think that one big part of the zoning requirement is compatibility. And I did not see compatibility with the environment, with the surroundings, with the homes that are up above, with this discussion today. And it's just not all about money, folks, as we're all finding out that threatened by the pandemic. I think about other times that we've been threatened by Moon Mountain and the development there. We worked very hard with the Moon Mountain Conservancy to stop the threat from the east side of our subdivision there. And now they're dealing with it from the south and from the west side. And I just hope it all comes out well, and we'll sure be listening and watching, even though we are not really residents anymore. And I thank you for letting us both speak, since we're not residents, but we still love the place. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, last call, final call for anybody else who wants to say anything before I close the public hearing.
I have one more comment. This is Eric Vaughn.
Go ahead, Eric.
I'm just sitting here thinking about this, and this isn't the first time this has come up where I've been involved in this project. And I think this, just for this committee, I think it sets a real bad precedent for spot zoning changes. And I think it's coming up more and more often. And I think there's parcels of land out there where this can be done. Like, I can't remember who said it, but there's a property that can be found, as our community does need some form of housing, but these spot zoning changes are just a dangerous precedent to get things approved, or in circumstances where it's inappropriate. So I just want to caution the committee that that's setting a real bad, dangerous precedent.
Thank you, Eric. All right, so I'm now going to close the public hearing. It's 3:30, and we're going to close it and open it up to Planning and Zoning Commission member discussion only. Anybody?
Private one, like what,
They need to make a motion, right?
they do have to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to have the executive meeting with the commissioners. When you're closing the meeting, you have to cite the statute. Okay. Yeah. Pursuant to New Mexico statute. I'd like to make a motion to, pursuant to the statute 10-15-1H3, to have a private meeting. Go into executive session. Go into an executive session.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
There's a second for us to go into executive session to talk about potential legal issues. So with that, it requires a roll call vote to go into executive session. Stephanie?
Commissioner Briley?
Aye.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner McElina?
He doesn't get to come.
Commissioner- Commissioner Tondino?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
So we are going into executive session. We will be offline. We will not have any communication with people until we get back. We don't know how long this will take to talk about all the different avenues that we have to deal with. So if you want to hold on pause, or do they have to
No, they just stay there. We'll stop our video if you.
So we'll stop our video, and we'll stop the microphones. And if y'all want to just hang out there until we get back, we will be back.
Tell Ron we'll call him.
Ron, we'll call you on the phone so you can be with us. Okay.